to this and show you. In fact, Command 0 does that. This is the example. This is what we need to work with. I'm going to go in the layers and I'm going to actually remove the drawing layer by turning it invisible, and I'm going to be acting on the guides. When I click on the tiger, I realize it's grouped. Indeed, if I open that guides, right here I see that there is a group, and inside this group there are all these spots that I want to color without having to select them individually. So how do I do that? First and foremost, I need to ungroup it, Command Shift G. And as you can see now, that group sublayer went away and I have all my spots selected and everything else. Now I'm going to hold the Shift key. Remember, when you have something selected, the Shift key allows you to deselect. Shift key, and I'm going to actually click and drag all the part of the chin because I don't need any of that selected. And then I'm going to click on the ear, click on the other ear, click on the eye, and click on the other eye. So now I have all the spots selected. So I'm going to go actually in my layer, close the guide layer, create a new one, and move my spots on it. Now I can finally color all my spots in one click. I'm going to look at the colors. I have strokes but no fill. All I need is a fill. So I'm going to invert the two. Now I know I have a gray fill in there, but if I double click on the gray and I pick a black, now I got a black fill. Done. Colored. Now let's all together open the swatches. Right here in the swatches, I made for you a bunch of gradients to make it easy to color this tiger. I'm obviously going to show you how to make your own gradients, but just for a matter of going fast, what you can do is select both eyes, choose maybe the stroke to be actually black, and then go in the swatches, choose whatever, in the swatches, you need to highlight the fill first, then go to the swatches. Otherwise, it's going to make the stroke a gradient. There it is. So you made first the stroke black, then you clicked on the fill, there was none, and chose a gradient in the swatches. Then I'm going to choose the entire head, do the same thing. Double click on the stroke, make it black, activate the fill, go in my swatches, and choose a color, right? And then I'm going to do the same thing with the ears, holding the Shift key so I can do it together, give it a black to it, and then go in the fill. Oops, sorry. Instead of clicking it twice, click the fill to activate it, move it in the front, and then I'm going to go in here and choose a different color for the ears. And obviously you can select the rest here and make it black if you wanted to by holding the Shift key and selecting all that you need to select right there. And you want to go here and say, I'm going to make it black. There we are. So, I mean, I know I still have the little dots here that are made out of little paths, but you get that we pretty much recreated the example right here, right? So what if you want to make your own gradients and go crazy and make this tiger pink and blue? How do you do gradients in Illustrator? This is your gradient bar. And you can see, first of all, let me start it from a file that doesn't have any gradients on it, so that, because you will start from scratch on your project. So I think is fairer and safer to show you the situation, how it's going to be. Sorry, did I say file new? Sorry, I thought I said file new, but maybe not. I said file open accidentally. All right, so if you have a brand new file, you'll see that the swatches look like this actually. So I had done over there a modification on the swatches as well. So I'm going to go in and create a shape. And that shape, I'm going to give it some kind of nice blue fill. So how do I make a gradient in there? So if you go on this bar right here, that's why I wanted you to start from scratch, because in the one of the tiger, you have a bunch of colors. But by default, actually Illustrator doesn't give you colors. It gives you a gradient that is black and white, strangely enough. So you have to click on your options right here. One second. Sorry, what I mean is, if you don't see anything, sometimes it happens you don't see anything, make sure you have the show options there. Then what you need to do is you need to click down underneath the slider. And you'll see that you have white and black right there, right? But if you double click on one of these two, all of a sudden you can, in theory, you would think add color. But no, originally at the beginning as a default, Illustrator gives you again black and white. So you want to go in these options, and instead of grayscale, you want to choose RGB or CMYK, those color mode. Choose CMYK just like because we are in CMYK mode. You can see it up there near the file size, near the file name. So now I can finally go in and say I want a light blue, and right here I need to do the same thing. Double click, CMYK, and I'm going to choose kind of like a nice pink. What if I want another color in there? You can click on here and say I'm going to pick kind of like a yellow. Now you can see that you're now you finally start getting color. And here you can add one more and say I'm going to pick a purple color. Wow. So now remember, these are determining how much of the blue and the yellow is present, how much of the yellow and the purple is present, how much of the pink and the purple is present. So these are the elements that allows you to determine how much of everything. Now notice that where did I create the gradient? Right in here, right? So what I need to do is open my swatches, grab this gradient and save it into the swatches by dragging it into the swatches. You'll see that when you click and drag, when you get to the swatches, it turns into a plus and you let go. So now you got a gradient in there. So what you can do is you can select that circle and now click on the gradient. And you can see that it distributes the gradients. Now, you have a gradient tool right here in the tools that allows you to go in and live change that gradient to be something else, right? So remember, you also have this fabulous tool that allows you to change it on the fly and kind of decide how you want it to be. See, you can really say, oh, I want only one piece of my circle or whatever you want to do. Or you can even decide you don't want that color and you drag it out. I dragged it away from that bar and it removed the color. It's pretty cool. Let's do another gradient together, okay? I'm going to just deselect everything. I'm going to start from a solid color. So that's kind of how it is going to be at the beginning when you start your object, your color drawing. So let's do another gradient together. I'm going to go in here in the gradient bar. I have the old one right now with two colors because I dragged those colors out. So I can edit it. But remember, you oftentimes have it in black and white. Also, what you can do is you can say, I want it to be a radial this time, right? I decide to go radial. And I'm going to make kind of a certain amount of color. Now, remember, if you have too many colors, you see I clicked too many times, you can grab it and move it out by dragging it away. Dragging it away. Okay, let's say this is enough color. You can go in and decide what are those colors going to be. I want it dark. I want this one to be more like an orangey color. And I want this one to be more like a green color, right? So now I got that gradient in there. All I have to do is open my swatches and store it in my gradient right there. Now I select whatever shape I want and apply it. Looks a bit like an eye, but remember you can also click on that gradient bar and control it, change it. You can even rotate it in this case. You see that? Not that it makes a big of a difference, but I'm just saying you can totally control it after you applied it to a shape. But it's kind of pretty sweet. I will have a video